question is, so when you guys stated earlier, like you shouldn't have the expectations of your parents on your spouse. So I mean, if you had a healthy relationship with your parents, wouldn't you, I don't know, by nature attract somebody
Sure.
like your parent? I
Yeah.
mean, so is it wrong to say if my father was a certain type of guy, or like, okay, I guess it's easy for a man, like, if my mom stayed at home and when I got home the food was prepared, and now as a husband you at home,
Sure.
so the food should be done.
Sure. Sure.
So I mean, is that okay
Yeah,
to?
it's good you asked that because when we were talking about it, I was hoping that that did come up. Your first impression generally of anything comes in the household. So I don't want, I know we kind of, when we talked about it, we seemed like, you're not married to your mom and all that stuff. But if you've had good, healthy relation, that is your first impression. If I'm a guy, I had both parents live with me from day one, and I viewed my mother as a strong woman. So obviously, what was somewhat put in me was a certain type of woman of strength, because that was my first actual look at a female, was my mother. So that's totally normal. And vice versa. Men, it could be with daughters, if you had a good health relationship with your father and you saw certain things. You get your idea of marriage and relationships sometimes by what you grew up with. That's part of the environment. So that is a fact. That is true. If it wasn't healthy, remember, I always say this. Either you're going to be like the environment or you're going to be totally the opposite. It's going to affect you one way or the other. Either you're going to be the environment you're in or you're going to totally go another type of way. So there's nothing wrong with that, because that is the first impression, the first thought you have of your father, your mother, their relationship. And if it looked good to you and happy to you and supportive of you, so you have that level of expectation too. And there are things I picked up, I grew up with, having certain dinners, certain holidays, certain traditions I still carry out, because those were good times for me. Yeah. So of course you would transfer those good times into when you have your own family and you have certain expectations. So that's good you brought that up, because I don't want anybody to just dismiss that, what you saw in your household that don't influence you, and it does.
And one thing is that when we got saved and we started we didn't hang around them, but we looked from afar, different ministry that had good family relationships. And it gave
after
us,
we
it gave,
after we
got,
became
after we
pastors,
became
not
pastor,
saved. Yeah.
when we started seeing, like, oh my God, you can actually have children in the ministry that really happy for the Lord. And then when we saw that, then we said it gave us hope that it can actually happen. People said, well, no, you can't have that. It's a family out here that actually working in the ministry and working together, and the in-laws is fine. So there is hope. So you got to have an image, just like Abraham or somebody. You have to have an image that God didn't just make this up. It is somebody out here that family are in the church, and then everybody working together. And the devil wants you to believe that that's not true. That can't happen. But you got to get an image, and we start seeing images and stuff. We had Kenneth Copeland family image. We had Abby Hill.
Different people.
We like, yes, this can actually happen. And so that's one thing, you have to have an image.